Amen, say man. This is the A-Man Show back at it again for more content. The Detroit Lions capped off their season with an NFC Championship appearance, an appearance that they didn't make for over 20 years, and they were a second half away from making their first ever Super Bowl appearance, but blew it against the 49ers. Judging from what they did in the offseason, the Lions front office focused more on the defense, specifically on the secondary, and based on the moves they made in the offseason, the Lions look better than ever before. Not only do they have arguably the best offense in the NFL, but defensively they can establish themselves as a top 10, maybe a top 5 defense in the NFL. The Lions were able to win 12 games with an inconsistent defense, but now with the improvement with the secondary, the Lions have put themselves as the favorites to win the Super Bowl, and I will show you why in this video. Before this video starts, make sure y'all subscribe. I post NBA and NFL content. Turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss anything new from me. Anyways, stay tuned and enjoy the vid. The Detroit Lions rebuild has been the one to remember. Getting rid of your franchise QB and Matthew Stafford was gold for them. Looking back at the trade, there's been a handful of trades in history of which both teams won. The Rams went ahead and won a Super Bowl the year after, and since then, the Rams have one of the brightest futures in the NFL. Meanwhile, for the Lions, it started off slow, but it progressed so much within the last 2 years to the point that the Lions, for the first time for a long time, are viewed as Super Bowl favorites. We all know that the offense is arguably the best in the NFL. They averaged 27 points per game, which is 5th in the NFL last season, 5th in rushing yards per game. They also were 2nd in total offense, 3rd in receiving, and 2nd in run blocking. Offensively speaking, the Lions were top 10 in every PFF metric. At QB, you got Jared Goff, who's one of the most accurate pocket QBs in the game, even though he has a hefty contract that was too much. Either way, Jared Goff is a top 10 QB in the game. You also have Amon-Ra Brown, who's not only the best player on the team, but the best slot receiver in the league, along with being considered a top 5 overall player at his position. You have second year running back Jahmyr Gibbs, who himself is considered the second best receiving back in the game behind Christian McCaffrey, but one of the top 5 players at his position, along with David Montgomery, who himself is an 1,000-yard rusher, making them the best backfield in the game. You also have a top 5 most reliable tight ends in the league in Sam Laporta, and the player on the receiving core that I see breaking out is Jameson Williams. Williams is one of my anticipated young players to break out this year. So far his career, Williams dealt with injuries in his rookie season, and the following year will essentially be in and out lineups because of off the field issues, such as his gambling issues. But when you see him play, you can easily tell that he can be a lethal deep threat with his speed, route running, and reliable catching ability, and of course his athleticism. If Jameson Williams locks in and stays healthy, then I can see him be an 1,000-yard plus receiver this season. They definitely need him to break out this year so he can reduce the load off of St. Brown. An established wide receiver 3 in Khalif Raymond, and as for the O-line, they have the best line in the league, led by Penei Sewell, who is, in my opinion, the second best offensive lineman in the league behind Trent Williams. You still have Ben Johnson, who is an offensive mastermind and the best offensive coordinator in the league, and even was offered a head coaching position, but he stuck with his job because he has the best chance of winning Super Bowl. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they added DJ Reader in the offseason, a great run defending D tackle to add with Alan McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson. For Aiden Hutchinson especially, I think this guy is going to compete with the likes of Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, and Max Crosby as far as who is the best edge rusher in the NFL. Last year, he had a double-digit sack season with 11.5 sacks. He also made a Pro Bowl last year. He also doubled his total pressures from 30 from his rookie year to 62 pressures. This season, you can see Hutchinson have a Defensive Player of the Year caliber year with added help on the line. As far as the linebacker core goes, Jack Campbell was top 10 in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. And also, I'm expecting him to have a big year, such as having a Pro Bowl level season alongside Alex Anzalone. And both of these guys will be considered one of the better linebacker duos in the league. And then the secondary which was the biggest weakness on defense last year. They addressed it by drafting Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rekesraw Jr., one of the best cornerbacks in their draft class. They also signed veteran corner in Carlton Davis, who was a part of this stifling Tampa Bay defense that won a Super Bowl 3 years back. They still have Brian Branch, who had a Pro Bowl level season in his rookie year, and he will get even better and establish himself as a top 5 safety. You got another solid corner in Amik Robertson. I mean, this defense is going to be more consistent and let alone way better than last year. And they will put themselves as a top 10, maybe a top 5 defense in the league this season. This team is so stacked with talent, they have no reason to disappoint this year. The only concern that I have with this team is, can Dan Campbell know when the right time to be aggressive in any situation in the game, especially in the playoffs, because Dan Campbell's over aggressiveness in his play calling and also his inexperience of managing the game clock is what killed him in the NFC Championship game. Hopefully it won't be so much of an issue now with playoff experience under his belt. Looking at this roster as a whole, they literally have no weaknesses, and in fact they have the best offense arguably in the league, along with a top 5 defense who in last season made a conference championship appearance and improved even more compared to last season. I don't see how you are not a Super Bowl favorite. Yeah, you got the Chiefs, don't count them out, but the rest of the guys, especially in the NFC, such as the San Francisco 49ers, they still a Super Bowl contender, but with Detroit massively improving on the secondary and all the young guys getting better, along with Dan Campbell getting playoff experience, I don't see how San Fran is going to overcome Detroit this year. Like, I truly think that San Fran's best chance of winning it all was last year. I don't think they can do the same this year. Another contender is the Eagles, and even them are inferior as far as the coaching staff and the roster staff goes. I don't see them overcoming the Lions this year either. The only team that can truly compete with them are the Kansas City Chiefs, because they have obviously Patrick Mahomes, along with an actual receiving core that he got Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, and Steve Spagnuolo. But other than them, I don't see any team that can stop the Lions. I think this is their year to win it all. I think Detroit will have the best record in the NFL, going 14-3, and give one hell of a challenge against Kansas City. They have the best offense, along with a top 5 defense, and also with a more experienced coaching staff. They have no excuses for them to disappoint this year. The Lions are the only team that can prevent the Chiefs from winning 3 straight titles. And that's the video. What do y'all think about this vid? Do y'all think that the Lions are the team to beat in the NFL? Let me know, and make sure y'all subscribe to the channel for more NBA and NFL content. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, turn on post notifications, and that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Sign out.